Okay, so will the new politically correct language help clean up San Francisco and give people with a troubled past the chance at a fresh start? Let's ask a couple of our favorite Californians. Host of Left Coast News, Ethan Behrman, and RNC committee woman for California, Harmeet Dhillon. Welcome to you both.
Hi, Shannon. Thanks for having us on.
I want to read something from the San Francisco Chronicle, one of their reports on this. This is about the danger of using the former language. They talk about what's in this resolution that was passed. They say, according to the resolution, 1 of 5 California residents has a criminal record. And words like prisoner, convict, inmate, or felon only serve to obstruct and separate people from society and make the institutionalization of racism and supremacy appear normal. Harmeet.
Well, the Board of Supervisors, who could be known as gibberish-involved persons, have passed this law, but they are trying to distract from the reality of Prop 47, which released a flood of criminals back onto our streets by downgrading offenses. This city has the #1 most property crimes per capita of any city in the United States. And anybody who lives in this city, including myself, has personally experienced car break-ins, homeless people, violent homeless people, drug addicts, and a general crime wave around this city. So instead of focusing on fixing that, and yes, providing services and helping reintegrate these people, we're just going to use Orwellian newspeak and doublespeak and just call it something different. And Shannon, the person who actually introduced this law to our Board of Supervisors, scarily enough, is the former chairman of the Board of Education. So, you know, this lady was in charge of teaching children and the curriculum of making sure that that was accurate. So you can see what a sad situation we have here in San Francisco when we can't even call things by what they are.
Okay, so Graham Dockery, a critic of this idea, at least it sounds like it from his piece, wrote this, saying, doing something about actual problems takes money, effort, and ideas. It's much easier to signal one's virtue by passing draconian laws and policing language. Ethan?
Yeah, I don't think that that's it at all. I think that this is just one of many steps that you have to do to address issues like crime. If you spend any time talking to people who have served in jail or prison when they get out, this ties right into the drop the box legislation that states are passing and cities are passing, so we can reintegrate people into our society to avoid the recidivism. Because when you talk to them, the ability to get a job, the ability to reintegrate is blocked by our rules, by our language, by our fears, as opposed to saying, here's your second chance to become a contributing, productive member of society. We've put up so many barriers. Let's bring those barriers down and make it easier for them to be a part of what we are doing again.
Well, and to that point, here's another section of the resolution that was passed. They say inaccurate information, unfounded assumptions, generalizations, and other negative predispositions associated with justice-involved individuals create societal stigmas, attitudinal barriers, and continued negative stereotypes. So, Harmeet, what about this language possibly being the step that Ethan is saying, giving people who serve their time, whatever they've done, a chance at starting fresh?
Well, talk is cheap, Shannon. I'm actually a civil rights lawyer. I'm in favor of people who've served their time being allowed to reintegrate, to vote, and to participate fully in society. But just whitewashing this problem by calling them something different does not provide them reentry services, does not provide them help for anti-recidivism. It simply brushes a problem under the table. We have a serious problem here in San Francisco, and by the way, all over California, with large amounts of recidivist criminals on the streets, and they are criminals if they have a propensity to continue after they have not yet been fully rehabilitated. And we ought to balance the rights of those individuals who absolutely have rights with the rights of the rest of us. And I think if Ethan and others don't want to call them criminals and want to hire them, and you know, God bless you, go ahead and do that. But language and sort of making it unpopular or unprofessional to call something by what it is dangerous as well. And I don't think it's fair to people to do that. And virtue signaling is exactly the right concept. All we're doing here is making liberals in San Francisco feel better about a problem that they are not solving.
All right, quickly, Ethan, does it feel a little bit Orwellian to you?
Absolutely not. The English language is an ever-changing language. We don't speak the way we did in 1920. So therefore, the language is ever evolving and changing to be more efficient in the way that we do it, more descriptive. That is the way the English language works. So if we're saying this language that was being used before is not effective and isn't working, to not change it just because you're stuck in an old way of thinking about it, I don't think that's the right way to go.
All right, Ethan and Harmeet, hold it down out in California. We'll see you soon. Thank you both.
Thanks,
Shannon.